So this is a follow-up to my last video on The Simpsons, as more news has come out about the whole Bart strangling situation. James L. Brooks basically came out and said, no, nothing's changed. Got an article from People here, and says the Simpsons patriarch will continue to get aggressive with his son, co-creator and producer James L. Brooks tells People. Homer Simpson, who has often strangled son Bart for laughs on Fox's long-running animated series, seemed to suggest he would change his ways on the episode McMansion and Wife, which aired on October 22nd. All right, and they just recap what he said. Perhaps not. Asked about that episode, Brooks tells People, don't think for a second we're changing anything. Brooks then showed an illustration of Homer strangling Bart, who was holding a smartphone, with a headline that read, Simpsons, no more strangling. Text in a word bubble showed Homer yelling at his son, why you little clickbaiting. Nothing's getting tamed. Nothing, Brooks continued. He'll continue to be strangled. If you want to use that awful term for it, he'll continue to be loved by his father in a specific way. Despite Brooks' declaration, Homer hasn't actually strangled Bart on air in some time, according to IGN. Homer last strangled Bart on a scene during the show's 31st season, which aired from 2019 to 2020. All right, so now there's several different things to think here. I do not believe for a second that James L. Brooks is lying. I think he could get in a lot of trouble if he's lying. However, I think he did need to come out and run damage control because this got out of control. It was a throwaway line in an episode that articles ran with and that everybody ran with, because when they make a declaration like that in today's day and age, it's usually symbolic of what they're about to do. If it was intended to be a joke, it was very poorly timed and very poorly done. You could easily say it was just a throwaway joke, but given all of the things that The Simpsons has done, getting rid of Apu, swapping voice actors, so on and so forth, it wouldn't surprise anybody. I stand by everything I said in that video. The Simpsons is still destroying itself. I was watching season 32 last night, and a little bit today, and I was watching the episode where the comic book nerd went to basically Comic-Con. It was, 3 Dreams Denied, where it dealt with Bart, Lisa, and Comic Book Guy all having their dreams shattered and then finding silver linings at the end. And Bart was going to be a voice actor, which is funny considering, the nature of the show and everything. It felt like a little bit of inside baseball, sort of an inside joke. But regardless, he's disappointed because they didn't tell him he would be voicing a princess. And so then Lisa comes up to encourage him, saying he's breaking gender norms, and they just used her to go on this diatribe of how proud she is of him, of not conforming to old school ways of thinking and blah, blah, blah. And it was just, it's still largely a platform for occasional woke writing. It's not as bad as some other shows, but it's definitely there. And I think if they start to tone that down, the show will improve, because I think what they've got there isn't terrible. It's not nearly as good as the golden age of The Simpsons, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen or heard. And it also doesn't help that the voice cast is starting to really get tired. The animation looks the best it ever has. There's all sorts of lighting and reflection and depth. There's a lot more CG. It's just a really good looking show now. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of substance left to it. There's a whole lot of gags on top of gags on top of gags, and it starts to get a little bit overwhelming. But I feel like the episodes are starting to balance out. It's just a shame that they had to remove Apu. They had to swap some of the voice actors because they weren't of the appropriate race. They had to do all of these different things to the series to make it more quote-unquote modern. So people getting upset over them having that throwaway line, it's not surprising. It's not surprising at all. Now, granted, they never insinuated that that was their goal. It was just a throwaway line in an episode. So it could have meant anything, and that's the point, is people took it to mean, in this day and age, that they're changing with the times. They didn't take it to mean that they're making fun of the fact that people say that the times are changing. Even if that was their original goal, then good on them. They got one over on pretty much everybody. But most people took them at face value. They took them seriously because of all the other changes that they've made. But in hindsight, I think many of us should have known better. I feel like I should have known better. So I do apologize if anybody felt misled by anything that I said about it, but it's just what we were given for information. Up until James Brooks came out and said something, nobody knew what their intentions were. They just knew what the line was. So, but I still stand by everything I said in that video. I think The Simpsons is self-destructing, and I think they're trying to salvage it. I really do. I think they're trying to give it a couple last good seasons. I don't know how long this thing is going to go on for. It can't go on forever unless they decide they're going to swap out all the voice cast, which they did that with Rick and Morty for Rick and Morty, so who knows what they'll do. Honestly, I don't think anybody knows. The show could see a renaissance if you get the right amount of writers, but as long as they're still pushing woke, even in small ways, it's just going to get worse. You know, I'm trying to go through these newer seasons and see how bad they really are. And the worst thing is Lisa. Whenever Lisa is being used as a platform to spout wokeness, it's just destructive and stupid and divisive. That's not what the show used to be. The show used to mock everybody. Now they'll only mock some people. The Treehouse of Horror from season 31 or 32 was they were taking jabs at Trump, but they weren't taking any jabs at his opponent. There's no balance anymore. It's just one perspective, and that's all that most of Hollywood is, and The Simpsons is no exception, and that's partially what's going to kill it. So, anyways, that's my recap of that. That's my summation of things have changed. So, James L. Brooks said it. Things aren't going to change. They're devoted to doing it. So time will tell if that remains true. Because they could cave to pressure. I think the worst thing you can do in this situation, if you weren't going to change anything, is to come out and make a statement. Because now people are going to get angry about all of the different things in The Simpsons, and they're going to demand change. And usually, when they demand change of The Simpsons, they get it. So this may have been a bad move, but time will tell. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. This has been Super Koopa TV. God bless. Have a good one. Peace.